Hello everyone, welcome to Kill the Cast. Today we've got a collab video featuring fans of Kill the Cast and of course me and Jay from Kill the Cast. So with that being said, the question for this topic is, if you could see a prequel to any horror movie, what would you want to see and what would it be about? So I'm going to kick us off with my choice, which is Popcorn. I would like to see a film about the film Possessor. In the movie, there's a guy named Lanyard who makes his film Possessor, and the end of the film is him killing people live on stage. It's a very art I'm God movie. And I honestly think that that's more interesting than the movie Popcorn, which I like Popcorn. Popcorn was cool, had a great fucking twist, loved it. But I want to know more about the cult. I want to know more about Possessor, and I want to know way more about Lanyard. So that's what I want to see. So with that being said, I'm now going to let the other people get a chance to tell you theirs. So here we go.
Hi, my name's Heather, and the prequel that I would like to see is to It Follows that came out in 2015. So for those of you who haven't seen the movie, It Follows is about a young lady who has sex with a young man, and he passes on to her an entity, a curse, a ghost, whatever you want to call it, and it will follow her until it kills her or she has sex and passes it on to someone else. What I thought was also really interesting about this movie is that if the entity does kill her, then it goes backwards and starts killing whoever passed it on to her. So I believe that an excellent prequel plot for this would be taking place in the Victorian time, and we would have a Victorian woman who, and of course during that time, Victorian women had only their virtue, which was their virginity, to offer men for marriage, who was convinced by a gentleman that he was going to marry her, and she has sex with him before marriage. And of course, he doesn't marry her. He goes off to have sex with someone else, or he marries someone else, and she becomes scorned. And somehow maybe she dies, or maybe she murders him in the process. And through that, she haunts and stalks every other individual that individual has had sex with, and so on, taking different shapes and forms and entities to seek out her revenge. So I think this would be an extra plot line because historically it's pretty accurate that this happened to young women in the 1800s, early 1900s. And I think it would easily make a good hour-and-a-half film, and you would have a mix of between the protagonist of feeling bad for this young woman who is taken advantage of, but then also not liking the fact that she's going to kill all these other individuals that had nothing to do with it. And you could even have a dual protagonist. So maybe you have her being the protagonist at the beginning, and that changes as she starts to go on this murderous rampage of killing one person after another. And of course you have the moment that you think that the person or whoever it is going to destroy her, and they don't. And it ends off with, we see how the gentleman from It Follows contacts or gets the entity in the first place. So that is the prequel that I would like to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2019. Will somebody explain to me why there isn't a prequel to Friday the 13th? It has so much rich backstory that hasn't been explored through any of the movies. I shouldn't say that. There's that one scene in the original, in the beginning. There's, in the remake, we get sort of a rendition of what happens. And, a dream sequence in Freddy vs. Jason? So it basically hasn't been explored yet. And yet it's one of the most talked about backstories ever, And exploring Jason's mom, Pamela, exploring what happened with Jason. You could do so much with that, put it in the camp setting. You can still make it fun, but yet make it tragic at the same time. You could do so much with it. My first thought is something like Bates Motel. Bates Motel got away with doing their own thing because they paid tribute to the series in so many ways and they honored it that they could do their own thing and people liked it. People admired them for switching it up, for doing their own thing. I totally think that Friday the 13th as a series could do the same thing. And on that note, it could also be used to, in a way, reboot the series. You could totally use that as a jumping off point for further movies and then, make tie-ins with the original. You could add so much to this universe. And I think it would be a lot of fun, and I definitely think people would see it. You're not leaving Jason out of it, but you're also creating an awesome backstory for him while telling Pamela's story. And I think it would be amazing. Why we haven't seen it, I don't know. So that is the prequel that I want to see most, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Jerry Herring. Rest in peace, boss guy.
What I want to see there's a lot I would like to see, but if I could pick a movie to see a prequel of, it would be Hellraiser, obviously. I'd like to see more of Pinhead, the Hell Priest. Perhaps nothing to do with Frank Cotton, nothing to do with Christy Cotton, just what he did after the Captain Elliot Spencer became Pinhead, which I don't care much for that storyline, but in between that and the Cottons, he had to be getting down to some shit, and I'd like to see that. Or I'd also like to see Frank Cotton's journey to finding the Lamet configuration and what he went through, debauchery and sickness and pleasure and pain that he went through to become the Frank monster that he did become. Actually, that's the two things I'd like to see.
Alright, so we are talking prequels. Prequel I would like to see is to my favorite franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street. If I were able to create the prequel the way I'd want it, I would want a pre-Dream Demon Freddy. I want to see him start his career as the Springwood Slasher. I want to go over in more depth his wife finding out about him being a killer, him killing her, him getting arrested, him going to court and getting acquitted because of the fuck up with the paperwork, and then I want the movie to end with him being set on fire and, you know, maybe open on a throwback to the original, like Nancy having her first nightmare or something like that. But I would love to see him, you know, be a really dark movie, like him tricking the kids into his boiler room. Graphic death would be preferable. Just anything like that, really. That's what I would love to see. How Freddy became Freddy without the nightmare stuff. I think that'd be really scary. I think it'd be really creepy to watch this regular human dude with his gloved hand just killing kids. I mean, it would be hard to do. People don't like to kill kids on camera. There's been a few exceptions throughout the years, but yeah, that's what I want to see. Really dark origin story of Freddy leading up to when he gets burned alive in his little shack. That would be fantastic. That's it.
Alright, thanks everyone for watching. Let us know down in the comments which movies you would like to see get a prequel to and what they would be about. And hopefully we'll do more of these collab videos down the road. Thank you for watching Kill the Cast. Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the podcast. We will see you next time.